husband and I were talking yesterday about the energy of validation seeking, the insatiable energy of self-criticizing until something external kind of anoints us or gives us a pass, or and how on some level it's a state of the nervous system, like fight, flight, freeze, but invalidation. When I work with people, the inner critic is usually the most stubborn, the hardest to touch, the hardest to get buy-in. It's very protective, very, very protective, very wounded around, or feels very unsafe around the possibility of invalidation, getting something wrong, not being able to help, not being able to achieve, not being worthy. And I feel that pretty strong this week. Is certain contexts of working with people ramped up, especially in this world of non-duality, which I don't even know what world I'm in sometimes, because I brought it on myself, for lack of a better label or any other label to couch these videos under. But I don't know any of these concepts really. Maybe at one point I did, but they don't stick. And when people ask direct questions and things, like sometimes it's not alive what answer is there to give. And then there's the social conditioning around like wanting to be kind, not wanting to harm. But the validation seeking can feel so heavy sometimes. And it can get self-sabotaging at a certain point when it's just sick of feeling like it invalidates itself out of protection. That it's like, fuck this, I'm not gonna try anymore. I'm not gonna put another video out. I'm not gonna talk to another person. I'm not gonna have another group. I'm not gonna have another interview. I'm not gonna do more therapy. Like, fuck this. Like, I'm done. Out of that, the nervous system, essentially. It's not that everything boils down to the nervous system, but the nervous system is more prevalent than the one human being that can sense. Like, we talk about the mind, the thoughts, like, yeah, what do you think is creating sensation here? Do you think having a central nervous system disabling, I don't even know how to phrase this, disabling condition has been so fundamental to awakening here, because it's cracked open the nervous system. killed off parts of it at certain times. By the way, I'm just compelled in this moment to say, like, my health feels really good today. Some days it does. And there's balking at, like, any labels, including non-duality, but also including, like, being boxed into talking about any one thing at any particular time, and that because I have a disability, it's always a certain way. It's never always good in this way, good being a relative term. And on the days when it's not a shortcoming, it's just the ebbs and flows of life. It's seen very clearly, so there's still, yeah, that's an aside. I could talk more. It's so natural and healthy to want validation, especially coming into this world as we're vulnerable. Children can't survive without parents. If they're rejected by their parents, if they're invalidated by their parents, their needs don't get met. If they're rejected by their school teachers and invalidated by their church, temple, religious leaders, like, that's dangerous. So we can't just discount validation seeking as a problem. But there is something that's, like, very alive in naming it. Like, oh, this, like, unsatisfiable need for something out there to tell me I'm okay. Because once we're adult, once we're whole, once we're autonomous, once we're a little bit more dualistic, I would even say, then what? Well, then there's no more utility for validation seeking. And it's just an emotional flashback. There might truly be consequences of not being liked or not belonging that we want to avoid, that are intelligent. And if what's true for me is authentically expressed and not approved of externally, for instance, if someone is asking me a question about a non-dual concept that's really not alive, or about my past that's really not happening right now, and the response is, that's not alive for me, I really have nothing to say. Even though I know and can sense in some people that hurts to hear, that feels like a rejection to them, it's authentic, it's real, it's true here. And I know, I've witnessed, I've seen that when one person's truest, authentic expression is healthiest and most supportive and most generous to everyone and everything on the planet. Doesn't mean it doesn't cause harm sometimes and pain, the ripple effects of being alive. Like, I cause pain, I hurt the people I love sometimes, the people I don't know sometimes, people I don't like sometimes. It's part of being alive. I hurt, the body hurts, the body suffers sometimes. And it really is going through and feeling how authenticity in a clean and whole way, despite the discomforts of life, is validation, validating, life affirming. And there can be the ripple effects of a critic and the response. But if, even as I'm feeling it right now, and there's the kind of muscle memory of interactions this week that I felt the conditioning was not safe in allowing authenticity in moments. Just feeling the permission for the nervous system response to be acknowledged, the unsafe, invalid, you're a failure, you're a phony, you don't belong, you can't handle this, It's all the same tone of voice and also tone in the body. It's very, very clear when it's active. Even just naming it right now, because it's alive, I would sense that whatever was really alive, if it was named right now, that nervous system response just relaxes a little bit. And it's interesting how confusion comes in and out of this. Because as it relaxes, things are clearer, things are simpler, things are quieter. There's less to say. Which is very different from the confusion and the what did I do wrong and I don't even understand this and of the mind, body, even the perception, the senses, the colors, everything is a little bit darker and different, heavier. But as it softens, the validation seeking is not fought against, not bought into or argued with, because it's undeniably unsatisfiable. So anything you do to try to satisfy it or fight with it is just going to feed it. So bringing it in, feeling the authenticity of it in a certain sense of like, it's here right now. This is what's alive for me, is feeling less than. Then there comes the quiet. And we we can have room to grow and make mistakes and learn and stumble a little bit and hurt ourselves and hurt each other without that insatiable separation from not okay, not okay, not okay. I don't want this. Things are blooming here. Yeah, it's energetically so different. I feel it right now. It's like a ton. What is a ton? 10,000? No. 2,000 pounds? I don't know how many pounds is in a ton. But it's the difference between a couple of 1,000 pounds weighing on the somatic system and just this. Friend come by and she's gone now.